culturally and traditionally and socially, women were so excluded that they could not participate. One of the things when we were a few years ago, I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we did a research on women's contributions, to the democratic space in Kenya. Yes. And one of the things we found out is that when the natives were fighting for the right to actually be represented, because they had been denied the right of representation, it was, a colonial system. The threshold that they had put and the requirements for you to even be considered as a leader was so restrictive, even just for the men, that it automatically excluded women. So, you had to have a certain level of exposure. You had to have been a leader, in a certain you had to have led a certain level. You had to be earning a certain amount of money. So women did not have the right to lead. They were not leaders. They didn't even, the men were barely being allowed to be leaders, but the women were absolutely not. They didn't have the level of education. They didn't have the income. So it made it difficult for the men, the African men, the Kenyan men, to be considered as leaders, but it was that much more restrictive that it actually completely excluded women because they could not meet that threshold. And over the years, our struggle politically has been for a more equal playing field, for it to be opened up, for quotas to be put in place, because the law is also a tool for social change. So with the quotas, like now we have the 47 women reps. Yes. Guaranteed that every county in Kenya will have a woman leader. So, and that helps move us forward, because by being there, they break those barriers. Where tradition is saying women can't be leaders, where culture is excluding women, the law includes them and gives them the opportunity to be able to showcase their ability to also contribute to development. And it then demystifies leadership and people become more open to it. 2022, look at the strides we've made. We have 7 female governors, despite... Just hold it there, Daisy, and let's track a bit, because you did even touch on equal playing field, and I want us to stick to that political note just for a moment. Yes, much as we have the 47 counties, and of course that automatically means that we'll definitely have 47 county women representatives, an addition to women in terms of leadership. But even at that, does it provide an equal and level playing field? No, it doesn't. So the thing is, the law facilitates. It provides us the opportunity to work towards leveling that playing field. We have the not more than 2/3 gender principle. The not more than 2/3 gender principle gives us ground zero from where we are to begin. That at a minimum, the opposite gender should be at least 1/3. Okay? And the 2/3 gender principle ultimately is working us towards 50-50 as the ideal, with the tipping point being the 2/3, so that at any point you should never have more than 2/3 and at least 1/3, because 1/3 is the internationally recognized threshold where you have a critical mass that can actually make a difference. So our failure to do that continues to hamper us, but it's not just also the facilitating the 2/3 gender principle. It's also about the resources. Remember, when you look at the Constitution 2010, one of the things that it is designed to do is to make us a more inclusive society and working us towards a more equal society. So one of the central pillars is inclusion and participation of all people, including previously marginalized groups. And so while we have principles like the 2/3 gender principle, it also speaks to some of the other challenges that make it difficult to have that equal playing field. For instance, the Campaign Financing Act. We know that resources play a huge role in the emergence of leaders and can determine whether you're going to win or lose an election.